see that score past 150 or so.
You've got a man coming in at the off-Hayden position, as this one is allowed to pass by Denley. Just the one ball that he had to face in that over. And it is the end of that. 73 for 230 overs bowled, so England in no great hurry. Only, 2.5 runs per over so far.
But things will pick up as the day goes on.
Well, you would hope. It's a clear day. In South Africa there is some highish, fluffy cloud, but nothing threatening. A bit of a wind, bit of a breeze.
Yeah, it would be very welcome, I imagine, as will the temperatures in the mid-20s, which are down from
39 you were saying when you were there.
Yes, that was oppressively hot.
I have been to Cape Town, not to see the cricket, and I remember it being warm. I don't remember it being massively humid.
No, I remember it being very pleasant.
Well, it varies. Philander is about to bowl his 8th over, the second of this spell since lunch. And in he comes, 2 slips in the gully, bowls to Root, Root onto the back foot, don't put it there, because that will disappear for 4 runs. It was too short, it was too wide, and that is meat and drink to the England skipper.
Now my innings going, great guns, I hit the ball, 4 runs, I hit the ball, and it went for 4 runs.
Now, I saw a tweet during the lunch interval from our good friend Gary Naylor, and he was suggesting that 300 or so would be a good total here, because it's doing a bit off the seam, it's doing a bit in the air, and it's turning. I think 300 would be nothing like enough on this pitch. Onto the back foot again, Root guides this skillfully past the man at gully. It'll only be a single though. There is a fielder who moves around from deep backward point to stop that running away.
Diana Patterson has joined us and has a question I can answer for her.
Goodness me.
Yes.
Must be an easy one then.
Well, it is easy. You could answer it as well, Hendy.
Oh, goodness me.
It says, so now no Facebook and no YouTube. Why didn't you do this during lunch? Just saying. And the answer is, the bear went off to buy the cable to fix the tune-in feed during lunch and has now only got back to sort out the other technical issues.
In comes Philander again. That's a much better ball. Brings Denley forward, and he defends solidly into the offside.
Doesn't help if you've got large furry paws.
No, it's very difficult
It's
to
very
control.
hard to press little keyboard buttons and
tiny
even
buttons.
take your money out to pay for the cable.
Very difficult. There's
Also,
people
if
in
you only leave
shorts
yourself
there.
15 minutes to do it in before the next session starts.
Exactly.
Well, the bear was trying to decide whether he'd got time to go and do it, and it took him about 15 minutes to decide while he was standing there.
He did stand there, sort of a mess of indecision for a while, didn't he?
Philander again. I just heard an Aussie in the crowd. What's he doing there? Here he is in, bowls to Denley. Gets in behind this. It's a bit of a thick inside edge, which sends the ball straight back to Philander when he was probably trying to aim that into the broader reaches of the offside.
Speaking of Aussies, this is a bit of a golden time for cricket listeners throughout the world, because there's 2 tests on that don't overlap, apart from by about half an hour.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
So you can have 13 hours almost of interrupting.
Well, I think that's what
cricket.
I think that's what Messi Jez does, doesn't it? Doesn't he? In Perth, because it's the perfect time in Perth for both. Really, he can just do a 16-hour day. Philander in, bowls to Denley again on the back foot, but he's not looking entirely comfortable. Denley, I don't quite know why. Seems to be suggesting that there's more movement than there appears to be.
Well, if there's any movement, I think Philander's going to find it.
Yeah, I don't know whether it's the wobble that's putting uncertainty into Denley's mind. He's not quite sure which way it's going to end up going, but he doesn't look entirely comfortable. Nonetheless, he has battled to 21 from 75 balls, and Philander comes in to complete his 8th over, straight and full, and defended well this time by Denley up to mid-on. And there is no run. End of the over, 78 for 2.
Matt Searle. Hello, Matt. Giving us a bit of a chiding.
Oh, no.
Somewhat undeserved, actually, because we spent a bit of time discussing the question he's mentioning. So, since you didn't get the question about when did England last open with 2 right-handers, do you want the answer? Well, we were thinking about Atherton and Stewart, and that was where we got to. I have to confess we didn't look it up over lunch. So yes, we do want the answer. And to your question, or we just don't care? No, we do care. We care about it, that we were talking about it for quite a long time. However, that was what we came up with, Atherton and Stewart. We suspect that may not be right. So, Matt, if you have a better answer, let us know.
Then it's probably Gooch and Larkins.
Yeah, but we're talking about
Larkins,
most
but
recent
we're talking
one,
about
aren't
most
we?
recent.
Most recent.
Yeah.
Atherton and Stewart, let's think of the early 2000s. Vaughan with somebody? No, Vaughan played mostly with Tchaikovsky, didn't he? Onto the back foot goes Root, defends to cover point. There is no run. Maharaj, left arm spinner.
More often at
continues.
number 4 or 4, wasn't he?
Yeah, but he started as an
he did
opener,
start
didn't he,
as an opener,
Vaughan?
yeah.
Or he opened at various points. Did he ever open with another right-hander? Driven pleasantly by Root, but straight in the direction of Maharaj, who clings onto the ball. Denley 21, Root 15. Man's gone back at long off, so he's not throwing it up and saying, "What, do you fancy trying to go over the top?" This time he punches to the deeper set cover point, and again there is no run. So Root looks busy. He looks like he wants to score. Wants to get this ticking over, and this time he plays the sweep shot, reaching for it a long way outside off stump. They're going to hurry through for a single in the end, I think, as Philander, betraying everything that I've said about him, not being a particularly good fielder, did quite well then. Moved swiftly to his left, through to the non-striker's end. 79 for 2, Root goes to 16. Maharaj again. Man's coming off Hayden for Denley. Denley goes forward. Defends. Faf moves from slip to field. Again, there is no run.
You're basically stuck between a period between about 2000 and 2004, aren't you, to get your...
Yes.
Because after that, you've got Strauss in the side.
Yes, defended to the man in the off-Hayden position. If you don't know what the off-Hayden position is, it's a very straight mid-off, but just off to the left of the pitch, or to the offside of the pitch, and quite close to it as well, and about 3 yards in front of the bowler.
Well, a few things then.
The
No,
crackle has not disappeared,
no,
we're
I
told.
saw that. We have to buy a new sound card.
Oh dear.
Okay, Jeff Brain. Oh, goodness me. Jeff Brain says, well worth a listen. This isn't... someone had kindly said, better listening to us than talk sport. It's well worth a listen. Only place you can hear it in Australia. Arthur Patricia. Hello, Arthur Shear. Says, Joe Denley appreciation post. Joe Denley never hurt himself playing footy in training. Joe Denley can fit 11 boiled eggs in his mouth. And when he was 4, Joe Denley was introduced to Don Bradman, who said, I taught him nothing about batting. He can teach me.
That's wonderful. I mean, the best part about that is the idea that anyone could get 11 boiled eggs into their mouth. Onto the back foot goes Root, tries to guide this down. Sometimes gets himself into a little bit of trouble with that shot because he plays it so well. Or to get 11 boiled eggs into their mouth.
Paul Newman.
Paul Newman in HUD. Yeah.
11?
Cool Hand Luke.
No. Cool Hand Luke. Not
You
HUD.
cannot possibly
You're right.
get... I thought you meant the Daily Mail cricket writer.
But he doesn't get them all in his mouth at the same time. He has to eat however many it is.
Oh, right, okay. Well, that's
It's a
what I
horrible
meant.
scene that they're force-feeding him every
How the
last one
hell
you think's
could
going to be his last
How
one.
the hell could you get 11 boiled eggs into your mouth at the same time? Crazy. Absolutely crazy. 2 slips of gully, extra cover, mid-off, mid-on, mid-wicket, long leg, and Root comes forward. A ball that wobbles into him, takes the greater portion of the inside edge, runs behind square leg, and they come through for 1. England
Depends on
moved
the
to
egg.
80 for 2.
I mean, if you're thinking like
It'd be a
quail-
tiny
quail's egg.
boiled egg, wouldn't it? Well, that's not a boiled egg then, is it?
Well, you can boil a quail's egg. You can boil an ostrich egg. It just takes more than 3 minutes. And you definitely wouldn't get 11 of those in your mouth, but there we go.
You do go well to get half of one.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, well, precisely. Anyway, Mog says, I hear that not scoring quickly is the new scoring quickly. Messi Jez is pointing out that the tune-in and website feed seems cracklier than ever. Yes, the bear is
It's a sound card.
on a sound card mission.
What does a sound card do? Root, no, rather Denley, comes across his crease there, outside his off stump, and tucks this ball from Philander to mid-wicket.
We're
There
hopefully
is no
about to
run.
find out. Mog says, if there's an Aussie in the crowd, fair chance he's being drunk and racist. Evil Scooter says, I was thinking it sounded ever so slightly better than when I switched over to the southern branch after the first hour.
You've been listening to us. There's a lot of people playing away today. Have you noticed? Leah, Ravi Nair, and Jay Grover.
We're one
big happy
We're
family.
one happy family, Hendo.
We're one big dysfunctional family.
We have an open marriage with our listeners. If they want to go and experience a little South African afternoon delight, let them do it.
We understand that we've become very familiar. You've got used to us, and you want something different. Anyway, Philander into Denley, and Denley pushes at this one and is beaten by it, and that is why he may be generally so uncertain outside his off stump against Philander, because when he does play at it, that happens.
Messi Jez says, this is talking about his listening to cricket. I did have that problematic 90 minutes between stumps at the SCG and the start of play at Newlands, Hendo. The dogs and ducks were happy though, as it meant they got fed.
They got fed. I was going to say maybe they went for a walk. Actually, that wasn't a bad ball. It did nibble. What you would say is, should he have been pushing at that so far outside the off stump?
It's also the pub I used to drink at in Soho, the Dog and Duck.
Dog and Duck?
Yeah. As did many people who worked in Soho Square, I can tell you.
Philander again into Denley. Denley better this time. Right forward. And the ball comes off the middle of his bat. Runs up to mid-off.
Matt Searle has answered. I wasn't chiding, honest. Atherton and Ramprakash. So we had one right. We said
Opening?
Stuart. Atherton and Ramprakash opened in 2000. Ramprakash scored Norton 2 in the second test versus West Indies and was replaced by Trescothick. The rest is history, as they say.
Oh,
So there you go, Atherton and Ramprakash.
Wow.
Atherton we had. Ramprakash, I wouldn't have got that without doing some really
Not in a million
delving.
years.
No.
Although I did get Hendo's question to me in the green room, which you would have been proud of, Tony.
Oh yes, I'll come back to that one. I mean, I'm sure you'll all get this out there immediately, as this is a defender off the back foot up to mid-on. I was watching a version of, a quiz programme on ITV the other day called Tenable, which some people may be familiar with. It's got Warwick Davis as its host.
Tenable for men.
Tenable
Oh,
for
no,
men.
that's something else, isn't it?
That's I've forgotten what it is. Anyway, never mind. Anyway, I was watching this, and the basic premise is that the contestant has to name as many of a category of 10, and the category was the 10 most recent Ashes captains for England. And it was quite entertaining because he obviously knew a little bit about cricket, and he got the obvious ones, but I thought, I know which one he's going to miss out. Maharaj starts a new over in, throws it up outside of stump, beautifully stroked by Root. Will only get one, as it's, I think that's Nochi doing the fielding under the sun helmet there. I thought the one he's going to miss out Flintoff, isn't he? Because Flintoff did that awful tour in 2006-07. When probably Strauss should have taken control. In he comes again, bowls to Denley, and he just pushes back to the bowler. But there was one other right at the bottom, and it went back as far as Graham Gooch, and then he had one other before that. Pre-Gooch. Now, don't say anything yet. Forward comes Denley, defends to the man at the off Hayden, who is Peter Malan. And I was, I had a slight feeling that it was an odd one. Part of me was saying Mike Gatting, but then I was thinking, Gatting 1986-87, possibly not. Gooch was 1990-91. So who came before that? As this is again pushed into the offside, there is no run.
Immediately pre-Gooch. So we're looking for an England captain.
Immediately pre-Gooch.
Immediately pre-Graham.
But it's a kind of a trick question, in a sense. Maharaj in again. Oh, he comes right down the wicket this time. Slightly riskily, doesn't get there, and then half pads and half bats it away. There's an appeal for LBW from Maharaj, but he was surely so far down that umpire Dharmasena would not have been able to give an easy decision there. It was probably turning away from the stumps as well. He's in again, gives this one a bit more air. Thrashed this time by Denley, but straight to extra cover. He's quite straight. And there is no run. That is the end of the over, just a single from it. 81 for 2. So we're looking for a man pre-Gooch. But remember, it's a bit of a trick question. Someone's going to come in on the Twitter sphere and have looked it up. I know.
Post Bob Willis's captaincy.
Oh, well, post Bob Willis, yeah.
Bob Willis finished.
Well, while you think
84.
about that, Abijato Sensama
Good name.
says, unexpectedly called up to test side, this is about Joe Denley, I think, to the test side with the USP of being a part-time leggy, widely criticised after their first few outings, but the team stuck by them, and now they've secured the number 3 spot for themselves. Is Joe Denley the poor man's Labuschagne?
A very poor man, Labuschagne, on the basis that. Well, in a sense, I mean, I'm quite an admirer of Joe Denley and what he's done. Philander bowls to Root, flicks it off middle stump, straight to mid wicket. No, I'm an admirer of the way Denley's, come at this late stage and done quite well without really setting the world alight. It's been quite a solid presence, and he's been asked to bat in a number of different positions. But you can't really compare that with Labuschagne, who has just burst onto the scene and hit 400s in 5 tests, can you? Also,
plus whatever he got in the summer.
Plus all the runs that he got, at Glamorgan, batted brilliantly. I mean, even when he looked at his figures before he got his outing in the Ashes, Philander in, full ball driven, lovely stroke from Root, but well stopped there. I think it's Dean Elgar at extra cover. 500s and 550s before he even got into the Ashes. So that's really in those months of May, June and July, when county cricket was being played, 4-day county cricket. But no, he looks a class player, Labuschagne.
He does. And as you rightly say, honed.
Yeah,
honed at Glamorgan.
Honed at Glamorgan. And I mean, you look at Denley and you say, yes, he's a good player, verging on pretty good, but he's not a Labuschagne. Philander again in to Root, and that was a slightly slower delivery, quite full, but he just drops it down, steers it off a thick outside edge towards deep backward point for another single. Goes to 19, 82 for 2.
Mog says, you mean I could have been listening to the South African folk all this time?
You
Why
could
the
have.
hell didn't you tell me?
Well, we to be honest, I think that they're all not very nice people, so we don't tell you about them. No, they're not. They're lovely people. Pope has been on this programme in the flesh and in spirit.
We were going to do a link up
invoice.
at one lunchtime.
We will have to do that at
Yeah,
some
we
point.
must
Yes.
do that.
Yep. Talk about all things South Africa and England. And there's lots to talk about, to be fair. Both these teams. Philander in again. Once more. Slightly slower, it seems to me. Slightly more thrown up there, if you can say that of a medium fast bowler. Defended, though, by Root. Straight back to the bowler. Denley.
Arthur Patricia says, what does a sound card do? Same as a regular card, but it spots you a 10 bag for free too.
Hey.
Cricket Blitherman says, what does a sound card do? Cat-sitting Hindu betraying his technical genius there.
Absolutely. You know me.
And Chris the Choir says, sounds like a job for the folks at Guerrilla Cricket. Oh, that's in response to Nikki Spence, who says, my future artist involves being body-shaped. Oh, this is strange. Yeah, not quite sure I'm following all of that.
Well, we'll leave that for the time being. And talking of leaving things, Denley leaves this ball from Philander outside the off stump. Have you got any?
Oh no, Dave Wood.
Yes.
David Gower.
No,
Not David Gower.
not
Dave
David
Wood.
Gower.
Finished
Not.
in
A very good
85.
shout. Very good shout.
But remember that you wouldn't have won £10,000 if you'd said David Gower.
So when you say it's a trick question, does it mean they took over the captaincy midway through a match or something?
well, you may be on to something.
You're thinking you're on the right
You're
line,
in the
but
right lines, but you're not right.
Oh, okay.
Righty. And I'll tell you why when we've unearthed who it is. Philander again, driven by Denley, but straight to Rabada at mid-off. And that is the end of the over. 82 for 2, Denley 21, Root 19.
Evil Scooter says, oh, you don't have to read this out.
Oh,
okay,
right.
I won't.
Okay. Has he given it away?
Oh, well, no, he doesn't. But all I will say
Yeah.
is thank you.
Oh.
And thank you to Evil Scooters, who is an absolutely top man, and I believe may have helped us out with the purchase of the sound card, which we are hugely grateful for. So I didn't read it out, but
wonderful.
I thought that such generosity needs to
What
be
a-
acknowledged,
what
and we greatly appreciate it.
What a wonderful man. Yes, indeed, 82 for 2. 13 fours in that total so far.
And,
That takes us to Maharaj, starts in the over, which is steered up all the way along the ground to the man who is at long off. I'm not sure I'd have a long off at this stage, would you, Jason?
I think he's been bowling long enough that he can bring him in if he wishes to and make him hit over the top.
I certainly would do that with Denley because he has shown a propensity to do that, to come down the wicket, bring him up, maybe halfway or 2/3, I don't know. Defended to mid-wicket, there is no run.
but they seem to have gone for the off Hayden instead.
Yes. Yes, I'm not sure about that. Maharaj in again. Denley checks his drive as he comes forward to that one. Half stopped by the man in the off Hayden position. Just 5 runs from the last 27 balls at a run rate of 1.11. Does that count as Nelson? This is wide and short, and I think Denley should have done a bit better with that, really. He fell away from his cut shot a little bit as he was trying to play that, so they didn't
Takes the power out of it.
yeah, didn't stay with it. And so Maharaj gets away with that one. He's in again, very flat, defended to backward point, and there is no... I don't quite understand this notion of having a man back when you're bowling so flat. And I don't quite understand bowling so flat when you've seen that the ball, when you've tossed it up, has turned a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure of the tactics here of Maharaj.
Unless they're just trying to frustrate these two.
Yeah, it could be. Very flat. This time he goes back and finds the gap as he plays this with a straight bat off the back foot, all the way to extra cover for 4. John is loitering, getting ready for his next stint on ball by ball. We'll do one more over because I want to get to the answer of this question while I'm still on.
The debate about the right-hander is also going on.
Oh, that's ongoing as well.
You've got two debates going on here. So let me see if I can't update you on those answers. Neil Fairbrother said Comrade Bernski.
No.
Never opened as far as I recall.
Is that about opening or is
Yeah.
that as captain?
Well, that's what I'm not sure. Ling Mao said the correct answer to when England last played a right-handed opening pair is the 3rd test in India at Headingley in 2002 when Vaughan opened with Rob Key.
So there
Rob
you are.
Searle.
Surly, you're wrong.
What do you want to come back with your response on that one?
Well, someone's not been using their Cricinfo stats guru
And
as
Arthur
well as they
Patricia,
might.
the of Arthurshire, says, got a feeling it's John Embry, but I can't remember which gorilla gets irrationally angry and starts ranting about bowling averages whenever Embry's name is mentioned.
Nokia has replaced Philander, and his first ball is flicked away down to long leg or wide of long leg by Root. They'll come back for a comfortable 2. Dwayne Pretorius does the fielding.
So we've got 2 questions on the go, haven't we? One is
Yes.
the last time a right-handed opening pair opened for England.
Yep.
And the other question is the captain that immediately preceded Graham Gooch.
Indeed.
And we thought we had the answer to the opening pair, but now there is a debate about
There is
it.
controversy.
There's
There is
controversy,
controversy. There is quiz controversy. A man at backward square leg, mid-wicket, quite square, mid-on, and also back at long leg. That's the onside field as Nokia bowls outside the offside, off stump, and Root leaves it alone. He's moved now to 22. It's been a good 22. Denley has looked less fluent on 25 from 95 deliveries.
To answer their question, no, it is not John Embry.
It's definitely not John Embry. I mean, I think initially that's where you were going of that.
Well,
that 88 series.
That 88 series
when
where
we
you
had 4 captains.
4 captains, and I went for Chris Cowdery initially.
But you were wrong.
But I was wrong, but I was right with my second guess.
You were. Nokia in again, bowls to Root, better ball, arrowing in on off stump. He's forward and defends.
Many people with us on Cricket Tracker. Swayam Prasad Sahu says, I love this test match.
We love it too.
Shazab Butt says, so nice, man. Sainedu Kasturi says, nice to see, nice, good to see you. Nice, good to see.
Good to hear from you.
To see you, nice.
We can't see you.
Mark Anthony Blau says, watching the game live at Newlands Cricket Stadium, love this game called cricket. So do we. Darling Dastagirl says, I will see India. Oh. Okay.
Full ball, and that probably should have been stopped at the square mid-wicket, but the fielder rather flopped over the top of that as Root clipped it away. Philander chases it. Philander's surpassing himself in the field today. They've got back for a 3rd. Good running from Root. Takes England to 92 for 2. He goes level with Denley on 25 in a lot fewer balls.
Messi Jazz says, with the backdrop on the green screen, it looks like steam is coming out of Hendo's head.
Really?
Did I miss Hendo rant? Only, but nothing major yet.
No, I've just
rumblings, but nothing major.
I've just got this little button. I just turn it, and I let the steam off. That way I don't have to rant.
A gently
It's a steam
smoking-
release valve.
like a gently smoking volcano.
It is a valve indeed. Short, and this time clipped square by Root. Is he going to think of a second? He's going to come back for it. I think that's well judged, actually. And yes, he looks very busy. Actually, was that Denley? Am I
Yeah,
getting-
well, it went 3 for the foot.
Oh, they went 3. My apologies. That was Denley picking up the 2 there. Average score on day 1 at Newlands in tests, 269 for 8. That might be of interest to some of you who've done the GPL.
There are a lot, as I recall. I mean, Jason can have a look. But I seem to-
33 entries.
yeah,
today.
but I seem to remember there's a few around about that mark. You think it's almost like
Well,
they've
he
done their
did tell
homework.
them. He said
I said
263.
263 was my guess. I don't know
So
why.
you were in the
263.
ballpark as
Yeah, I
well
was in the
then.
ballpark.
Very much.
And that was without doing any research. Have we got any answers yet on the Gooch captaincy issue?
No, we haven't. Or maybe Neil Fairbrother, I think, must have been the answer to that. But
No,
it isn't.
it isn't.
I don't think it would.
I'm going
would
to
be.
tell you because I'm going to have to go in a minute.
Oh, okay.
Final ball of the over. Norkia in, bowls a bouncer. Oh, goes horribly down the leg side, but well done, Quinton de Kock, diving across and taking it one-handed. 142 Ks, that delivery. The answer is Alan Lamb.
Lammy.
And Alan Lamb, and the reason why this notion of sort of taking over halfway through a series, well, it wasn't quite that. I can't remember the circumstances behind it, but he captained the 1991 Tour first Test match of that series. So Gooch must have picked up an injury or an illness early on in the tour, and then Gooch took over. So there's the answer to that. Let's have a jingle, and then we will put John in the middle. Where's the bear? Is the bear coming in as well?
Bear's gone to.
He was on Mission Sound Card, wasn't he?
Alternative cricket commentary. Bringing you laughs, bringing you jingles, bringing you joy.
There we are.
We are gorillas. We need your... Patreon.com/Gorilla Cricket.
And after that very restrained changeover for a change, unlike the normal clog dancing.
Well, no. Maharaj, by the way, his left arm over
He is.
around the wicket.
He's
I beg your
driven by Denley. No, by Root, in fact. Got to get our batsman at the right end. A reasonable
guessing
start by England after lunch.
Get your Joes mixed up there.
Indeed. Root's right forward to this one. Bat and pad close together. Plays out on the offside. Yes, Joe Denley actually went 49 balls without scoring a run. Either side of lunch.
Oh, don't do that, don't do
No,
that.
please don't run each other out. There was a bit of stop-start there by Denley, but I don't know what the initial call was from Root, but he never left his ground.
Spicy Golden Duck. I will tell you what they did, because Maharaj doesn't leave you a lot of room for inserting the odd tweet, does he?
No, here he is again. And Root sweeps. And there's nobody out there, and that's gone for 4.
Yes, Spicy Golden Duck. I said, good morning, Gorillas. Crack will be damned. You're still better than listening to TalkSport. We'll take that. And hopefully
Yeah.
the crackle will also be gone.
We'll have that. Yes,
Round
Bear
about-
is still on the case.
Yes, I imagine Bear will be doing sound card surgery round about tea time.
Yes, sounds likely.
Now, here's a niche piece of knowledge.
After this ball from Maharaj, which Root again comes right forward to, kills any thought of spin, and plays it straight back to the bowler.
Cricket John tells us that Gooch contracted poisoning to his hand in the warm-up part of the 90 to 91 tour.
Oh, this has gone straight up in the air from Root. He's got away with it. There was nobody there. Long leg jogs in, throws the ball back. That was an ugly swipe from Root. Just top edged it, trying to play the sweep shot again.
Well, that's never happened before to him, has it? I seem
well,
to recall an England-South Africa match in the UK where exactly that shot happened.
He seems to be reaching far too far forward for it. That's the problem. he's reaching far too far forward, and
Indeed, I
and
think-
he can't control the sweep shot at all.
Quite possibly to the same bowler. I think Maharaj was on that
Yeah.
tour, so I'm fairly sure that was exactly the same way he got him out at Lord's.
Yes, I think that might be right. That was very nearly then a case of deja vu, but England survive it, and they're one short of 100 now. 99 for 2.
Cricket John has picked up where Spicy Golden Duck left off and saying if there was a crackling on Talk Sport, it would improve the output.
Oh, harsh. Surely harsh. Not for us to say.
Well, we did have our very own Bear Does Tech talk
What?
during lunchtime when he's talking to you about normalising your podcast.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Here is Nortje. Into Root, who defends that back to the bowler. He's clearly trying to be aggressive, isn't he, Root?
Well, he's looking more like the old Root in a way, because I've just looked up and suddenly realised he's gone to 30 in that sort of way that he does, where you just think, well, he hasn't been in that long, has he? And then all of a sudden
41 balls.
yeah, 30 or 41, so he's going well. Denley is the one who's a little bit, I was going to say rooted, a little bit stuck.
But then
importantly
that's
still
okay, isn't it? Because if Root is keeping the scoreboard moving over at one end and Denley's just blunting the attack at the other, then that works.
Oh yeah. We want to say hi to Eli and Gabe from St Paul's School. That's from Gideon Joseph, who's in the Maldives, I think. So hello to Eli and Gabe from St Paul's School.
Enjoy your holiday.
Welcome, welcome, and enjoy. Yeah, keep enjoying your holiday.
Someone sending a message to their mates, by the sounds of things.
Seems to be, but we're very
All
happy.
good.
Happy
Yeah,
to,
we're happy to play.
relay it.
Messenger. There's Nortje. And Root just drops the bat on that and plays it into the vacant gap. Third man comes in and throws the ball back into Quinton de Kock. And the 100 is up.
Should also probably say a belated happy birthday to Ollie Pope, whose birthday was yesterday, I do believe.
Yes, 22.
I think he's 22. Yeah.
22 yesterday. Yeah, a very, very bright prospect is
Well,
Ollie.
At this age and at this stage of his career, he's in the top 20 of lifetime averages already.
Denley attempts to pull this one, but it's on him a bit quicker than he thought, I think, and he just goes out on the leg side, and Quinton de Kock comes round and does the fielding himself.
First class, I should say.
The 100's up, most
best.
importantly.
Yes, it is. It is indeed.
PJ Mead says, an interesting factoid about Lamb as captain. I have no recollection of that whatsoever.
I didn't either, but I was thinking in my head, no, wasn't that the series where, because I worked out it was a 1991 series, but wasn't that the series where Lamb smashed Bruce Reed for 18 in an over in a one-dayer?
Not
I
here
thought-
in. Oh, that's short, and that's hit. That's hit Denley as he tries to take evasive action.
What did it hit? Did it hit?
I think it hit on the helmet, so we may have a bit of a delay here.
I wondered if it was a bit of arm or periscope. Yeah, I thought it was an arm.
He
it
was
was the
he was
very-
trying to duck out the way.
The very top of
Where's it hit?
I think
No,
it
it's
was.
hit. No, it's
The
hit him
helmet.
right on the back of the helmet. So
What
I
is-
suspect they might have to do a bit of concussion checking here.
and helmet replacing.
Yes, it ballooned out down towards fine leg. Yeah, the back was rather in a precarious position there too. He didn't get that out of the way. That could have gone anywhere.
So of course I also have to the whole palaver of fitting his back protector onto his new helmet as well, which will take an age.
Yes, so this is going to be a delay.
In the meantime, Thomas at Real Tommy Box has replied to Cricket John, us, and Spicy Golden Duck. Looks like a strange picture of a child eating an apple. So I need to see what the original comment was. Oh, it's the crackling of Talk Sport. You might have to explain that one, Thomas.
Yeah.
Or I'm just missing something
Yeah,
obvious.
that's a bit lost on me, I think.
It's a bit niche.
Dharam Singh Panu says
Yeah.
good. Anajana says hi.
Hello.
Rajendra Prasad Adlagadu Neta says nice. Sahil Ansari says hi, and Sahil Ansari says also says hi. So says hi twice, which is very
Hi
nice.
to you all. Now, going back to Ollie Pope while we have a break. I was fortunate enough to be in a press scrum the day after he scored his double 100 after just coming back from injury this year against Hampshire.
Oh, the second one.
Yes, and spoke to. We were talking to Michael Di Venuto, the Surrey coach, and he was, because if you remember, immediately after he played that innings, he had to kind of leg it to where the next Test match was taking place because
Yes,
he
he
was
was
cover, wasn't he?
He was the travelling cover for somebody who had to have a fitness test on the morning.
Yes, that's right. And he sort of disappeared, and Michael Di Venuto said, "Yeah, I think we're going to have to get used to Ollie Pope disappearing." He said, I'm not sure how many times we'll see him in a Surrey shirt.
Well, he was identified at about the age of 9, I think,
Wow.
Yeah, no,
as
indeed.
being a potential long-term prospect.
By the way, that was Jofra Archer who was delivering a replacement helmet to Joe Denley.
I hope he hasn't hurt his elbow carrying that.
Yeah, hopefully he carried it in the other hand. Anyway, we seem to be ready again. Nokia has one ball left in this over.
Well, I wonder what this will be.
Yeah, maybe another short one's coming, we think. Let's see. No, it wasn't, in fact. It was a fairly regulation length delivery to Root, because, of course, the batsman crossed in the previous incident, and that's the end of the over. 101 for 2.
Cricket John tells us that no, Alan Lamb took buckets off a Bruce Reid over on the 86-87 tour.
So that was the tour
So
before.
I was wrong in thinking which tour it was, but right in
Right,
thinking
Yes.
right bowler.
Right bowler, wrong year.
Wrong tour.
That was a lucky fluke then.
Right, you'd get if it was a 2-point answer, you'd get 1 point.
Yeah,
there.
you would, yeah.
Arthur Patricia says Alan Lamb is godfather to one of the members of this England 11, possibly the only godchild of a former England captain to play for England. But I'm sure I'll be corrected. Blimey, Arthur Share, that's an interesting
That
one.
really is niche, that, isn't it?
So now, of the current England 11, that would be interesting. I wonder who that could be then.
Well,
Wow.
it's not the obvious one, I think.
Alan Lamb was sort of South African of origin, wasn't he? Played for Northants.
Northants,
Would that give
yes.
us any clues?
Well, I'm wondering, I mean, after this ball,
And that's driven back to the bowler.
because my gut instinct would have been Sam Curran, but because, of course, Kevin Curran played for
Yeah.
Northants.
Then I would say Arthur Share, is it Sam Curran?
Maharaj in again to Denley, who plays that back to the bowler.
But if,
Saqib Ali says
Doesn't
hello.
seem to be any worse the wear for his bump on the head in the last over.
No.
He drives this one to mid-on, but Rabada's near enough to prevent a run.
it's that teasing length away from the wicket, just to make sure.
Yes.
Can you try it?
Yes, will you take me on or will you not? And Denley wasn't at all interested in that. Here's Maharaj again, and Denley right forward, very correct. And again, there's no run.
I do believe the Ursine personage has returned, potentially.
With sound card, potentially. Aha. Here is Maharaj completing his over to Denley, and Denley's a bit squared up by that. He goes to play it out on the onside, and it takes an outside edge, I think.
I don't think that's done enough.
and-
I thought that didn't straighten quite enough to be still missing leg stump.
No, I think it would have missed leg stump, but yeah, it sort of disturbed Denley's very correct posture of the previous number of balls. But anyway, no damage done. 40 overs have gone. 101 for 2.
I think Arthur Patricia is teasing us because although we volunteered Sam Curran as being the answer to the question, we haven't yet had that confirmed. So I'll give you another couple of Cricket Tracker hellos. Saqib Ali saying hello, and Kartik ACDC says, hi guys, do you see Keshav getting any spin on this pitch? Yes, we have. Certainly a couple
little.
have turned.
Here is Nokia again.
but not consistently.
There was one just before lunch that certainly was a proper Playtex ball. It lifted and separated even very nicely.
That's Playtex delivery, lifted and separated.
Wow.
Oh my.
You have to be a certain generation to appreciate that comment, don't you,
I
really?
think you do.
I think you do. Here's Joe Root again waiting for Nokia, who's at the top of his run.
Bounce is just as important as turn in that sense.
Indeed, absolutely. Here is Nokia in again. Root just stands up quite tall and plays this back to the bowler.
And this pitch has shown, a decent amount of bounce.
Yeah, it looks like it's got a bit forever. It's a good Test match wicket so far. Enough to encourage the bowlers, without a doubt. Nothing so untoward that it shouldn't encourage some decent run scoring. And a score probably about reflects that. 101 for 2, doesn't it? Probably one more than England would have liked. But
Mind you,
nonetheless.
as we well know, England are only ever one ball away
from a collapse, yes. Oh, and that could be it! No, it's edged! And it's gone through the wicketkeeper and first slip and down to the boundary for 4.
Oh,
It was an ugly shot. A really ugly shot, and it's...
2, 3,
Well, it was a genuine edge. And did De Kock get
I
a
think-
hand on it? And then
I think De Kock might have parried it and taken it away from Van der Dusen. Let's have a look again.
That's what I think. I think he died in front of Van der Dusen. And
It's an awful shot. It's a
took it
loose
away
shot. No, in actual fact, he's gone straight through to Van der Dusen.
who got both hands on it and went through them.
I think
Burst
he
through his
had
hands.
a pretty clear sight of that, to be fair. And it's gone straight through his hands and down to the fence for 4. Well, that's 3 catches he's missed in that position in the first 2 Test matches. They showed faith keeping him there for the start of this Test match, but I wonder how long that might last.
I am surprised because they normally put Elgar there.
Root comes forward and covers the next ball, which is much fuller.
And I don't recall Elgar doing anything wrong to be taken out of the slips.
No, very strange. Root flashed at that quite hard, but he had clear sight of it all the way, and you would really back your first slip to take that catch, wouldn't you? It's just left him a little bit off the pitch, maybe.
De Kock did move enough to his right to be in front of
Maybe
Van der
put
Dusen.
it off.
Here's Nokia again. They're appealing for a catch for that, and
Has Rifle given it?
he's given him out. He's given him out, so it must have hit the glove or the top of the bat, and that's the end of Joe Root.
That is soft if that is the case.
Well, Van der Dusen will be a very relieved man, won't he? A very relieved man. And once again, England looking like they were going to build themselves into a decent position have lost a wicket at a key moment. Now, where did this hit? This hit him on the glove. It's hit him on the glove.
It took all the pace off and it looped up nice
The
and
glove
easy.
of the top hand, I think. Yes, great celebrations between De Kock and Van der Dusen. De Kock leaps into the arms of Van der Dusen, who manages not to drop De Kock in the same way as he dropped the ball. And yet again, it's gone wrong for Joe Root.
You silly little boy, what on earth were you playing at? No! 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 No!
You get that on multiple repeat somehow there.
Yes.
The Stephen Fry thing.
The wonderful Stephen Fry.
Messi Nugez says, my enjoyment of the guerrilla commentary is enhanced further when I noticed the on-screen caption advising KP as one of the TV commentary team. Thank goodness for gorillas. Phil Withall is just sending us a hashtag Vale sound card. This was in response to something we sent out. Apparently the old sound card has been with us since the beginning of guerrilla cricket, but is now going to the
It's a venerable
the
sound
sound card graveyard
In the sky.
in the sky. Arthur Patricia says, yes, Sam Curran. Now trying to recall if the man-May Cowdrey connections include a godchild connection. Oh, that would be good to know. Linux Leah says, I don't think the sound card is the problem, as the YouTube stream was fine. Sounds more like a problem with the upstream. Well, the technical They're different, says the technical department, in a rather bear-like way. Gary Naylor says KP is irritating and can be contradictory, but he knows his stuff. I should have done that in a Gary accent, shouldn't I? KP can be irritating.
Very
It
good.
can be contradictory. Messi Jazz says what KP knows best is how to be arrogant. Cricket John says we should probably jingle up the new batsman and not listen to me.
Well, we're well after this ball. Here he is facing now, and he plays that back down the pitch to Nokia, and that's the end of the over. 105 for 3.
I got up in Stokes, and he called me a oh, if I'd only seen that Ben Stokes was so mean, and he called me a
Yeah, he did take his eyes right off it.
And he didn't drop the hands. That's the problem with it, isn't he? Root's taken evasive action, but not drop the hands out of the way, and it's flicked the top glove. Well, it's still to be Maharaj from the other end.
Good piece of bowling by Norcia to get it in the right place.
Yeah, it was good and straight,
It was
wasn't
well
it? That-
directed.
That's where you want it, isn't it? If you're going to bowl short, you want to bowl short and straight. Denley, in the meantime, continues.
He must get very tired of the situation now. Yet again, it seems to be like the boy stood on the burning deck.
Yes. Yes, it's all sinking around him, isn't it? Again.
When all but he had fled. Is that the next line, if I remember rightly, to the boy still on the burning deck? When all but he had
pass.
fled. I remember
I'm not
that.
as literary as you.
Sometimes, right. I'm sure that's it. The boy stood on the burning deck when all but he has fled.
Here
had
is
fled.
Maharaj to Denley, who cuts and misses, and it goes through to de Kock. He must have been within a whisker of getting an
Joe.
edge on that, I think.
That's a bit injudicious when you've just lost the wicket.
Yeah, that's not great. That's really not great. He was perilously close to top edging that. This one is badly directed down the leg side, and Denley just helps it round the corner. I'm pretty sure there was some bat on that, but it's gone for 4 anyway. Either way.
He's going, great guns, I hit the ball, 4 runs, I hit
Might
the
actually be
ball,
4-legged,
and
right?
went 4 runs.
Did he get any bat on that?
I think
Quite
he
hard to
did.
tell. But I think he's been given 4 runs. He has indeed. Here he is again, and he just pushes this one out on the offside. Fielded by the man at short cover. He's really rattling through his overs here, Maharaj. It's almost at the end of another one. He's into Denley. This is a bit shorter, and Denley pushes it out on the onside. Fielded at mid-wicket. It's the end of the over. It's 109 for 3.
Cricket John has a lovely suggestion. Actually, this is what he was going to say before, which was if you take the route of our Aussie friends, maybe you could entomb the inaugural sound card in a gorilla presentation box and flog it as cricketing memorabilia during the drinks breaks. Jen Rose says you'd have to be of a certain generation. This is in response to the Playtex lifting and separating delivery, because mine hears Playtex and thinks tampons apparently. Which I'd imagine is a rather different sort of delivery. Yes,
That's
I suspect
even
it would be.
worse, yes.
Let us move on.
Let's not go there.
Gary Naylor and Messi Jez are in a conversation about something there.
Here's Nokia into Stokes, who just plays this one onto the onside of the pitch.
And the Ghost of Zoob says, I look forward to being reunited with the original sound card. In sound card heaven.
Very good.
Or hell, actually, we don't know.
Well, we don't know, do we?
Or Hades, or what is it, Purgatory. Comrade Bernski, KP may be arrogant, but right now I'd love to see him walking out at number 5. Yeah, there might be a few people thinking that.
I don't think I would. I don't think I would. I'd better leave it there before I say something I regret.
What's the delay? Oh, we're ready now.
Norkia's getting ready again. He's into Stokes, who pulls this away through the mid-wicket area, but there is a man out there in the deep, and therefore it's only a single, but it gets Stokes off the mark and takes England to 110.
Another 258 would go down well, wouldn't it?
It would, very well at this stage.
Not the highest individual innings on this ground, though. That honour goes to Stephen Fleming of New Zealand, which he against South Africa in 2006, I think.
290?
No, 262.
262. Oh, so only
262.
just. Only
Yeah,
just
not
more.
by much. Not by much.
Only just more. There's Nokia again. To the obdurate Denley, who comes forward and plays it out square of the wicket to point. 2 slips in the gully.
Some
Point
friends-
cover, extra cover.
A few friends on Quick Tracker. Mukim Hussain actually just says Mukim Hussain. So he's written his own name under his name, which is interesting, but hello to you.
Yeah, I don't think he's claiming to be the captain before Gooch, is he?
No.
I don't think he'll get away with that. Here's Nokia again. And that's another short one, which Denley sways out the way of. Perhaps not quite as well directed as the one that got rid of Root in the last over.
Yeah, just a little bit more to the offside, that was.
Amir Panwar says hello, dear. That's all rather nice. Whether it's meant to be hello there.
Yes, don't call me darling.
I can a little update on
I went all Stephen Fry then, but there we are.
technical improvements are that there seems to be the bear seems to be endangering life and limb to not only himself but anyone within a 2-mile radius.
Here's Nokia again, and Denley is forward. Nokia comes across the wicket and fields off his own bowling.
Aidan has an interesting point. With injuries, illness and England wanting to take young players for experience, brackets perfectly fine, could they take more players and less support staff? Or get some players playing elsewhere in the Southern Hemisphere club cricket? All very fair points, I think.
So that they were ready if required,
Yeah.
but not necessarily taking up a space in the tour
Absolutely.
squad. Yes.
Well, it certainly worked for people in the past. I mean,
There's
on the
Nokia
last
again,
tour,
and that one through to the wicket-keeper.
the Terra Tour to Australia, didn't they have Borthwick in grade cricket who got pulled up at a moment's
Yes.
notice?
Yeah, I think that's right.
As
Once
ever.
Swan decided he'd had enough and wanted to go home.
Our,
I think that maybe drinks, chaps.
yes, indeed it is. Our listeners are, as ever, on the ball. Ling Mao makes a really interesting point. He says, it looked to me that for Root's dismissal and when Denley was hit on the helmet, that they were surprised by the lack of bounce from short balls. So, yeah, I think probably in both cases they didn't necessarily rear up as much as might have been expected. Comrade Bernsky says...
Something very amusing, clearly.
Well,
share.
I'd of course said I think it's the boy stood on the burning deck would all, but he had fled. Comrade Bernsky says, come on, everyone knows it's a boy stood on the burning deck, his pocket full of crackers. The silly soddy litter match and blew off both his etc.
Yes, very good.
So, thank you very much for that.
Very good.
Phobophobiac. Phobophobiac, yes, says also sound cards Dis Genholm Tartus, but my money's on sound card Limbo. Oh, okay, we're looking at places that they may go.
Ah, okay, yes.
To that great the graveyard in the sky. Phobophobiac says, before I forget, sound card Tirnar Nog. Is that Viking, Norwegian?
Yes,
Tirnar
Is it rest in peace? Does it
Gaelic.
mean rest in peace in
Nordic
Nordic
or something?
language?
Perhaps they'll tell us.
Well, you could always put it into Google Translate and figure out what it says.
I thought it was Gaelic, wasn't it?
But what I am pleased to see is it's getting the correct amount of respect for its years of sterling service.
Selfless. Selfless service.
What I'm not quite sure is why we have to dismantle literally every single piece of cabling in the building, though, to sort one sound card out. It's like, can you imagine taking your car to if Bear ran a garage? I've got this. I've just got this tiny little problem on my front wheel. Oh, I think I'm gonna have to have your engine out. Oh, that's your big end gone. That's your big end gone. I'll have to fix that. Here's my bill for £3,000. Talking of big ends. Grits and Grats says, I think the new sound card deserves its own jingle when it makes its debut after tea. Oh, well, there you go. There's an invitation.
Hey.
How about Wired by Sound by Cliff Richard? Well, why not? Why not? Oh, no.
Wired for sound, I do believe.
The technical department is also doubling up as the
swear
jingle
box.
improvement department. Jingle
Or disapproval
or disapproving jingle
think.
department.
Oh, dear me.
Yeah, you may not have caught that, but that was Bear just saying how he's been a lifelong fan of Cliff Richard. Arthur Patricia says, deeply lamented by a large circle of sorrowing friends and acquaintances. MB, the body will be created and the ashes thrown at Jonathan Agnew.
Oh, harsh.
Oh, this sound card's getting, during the sound break, it's getting a lot of love and respect, as indeed it should. As indeed it should. And think of how many words do you think that sound card will have conveyed over the
Oh my
years? You're
goodness.
talking billions, trillions possibly. I mean,
Millions, certainly.
Jason,
certainly
Jason
millions.
looked like he was actually going to work
Trillions
out.
is
Get it
an
out.
awful lot.
I'm trying to do some mental maths in my head at the moment.
Well, you do that because to me, I wouldn't even have a clue where to start on that question. I don't know why I asked it. Cricket Blitherment says the more important question is, does the sound card have a Twitter account yet? No, but I'm sure it will. Lennox Lear says, don't burn it before throwing at an Agnew. Just throw it in its current state. It'll hurt more. Adrian Lowe said, sound card issue. Pardon? Very good. And Phobophobiac says it was actually Gallic. But was it rest in peace in Gallic, Phobophobiac? Cricket Blitherman says, imagine if the Hoff Bear ran a garage, and then he's laughing. Indeed, it's a scary thought, isn't it? To car owners everywhere.
We're up and running after the drinks interval. Here's Maharaj to Stokes. That one seemed to turn a little into him, I think.
Well, don't forget, he's had people bowling over the wicket from the far end who's probably... There's a little bit of rough there. And he was a bit scuffed up to start with, this wicket.
Jamie McAllister says it means land of the young, apparently. I remember the old Specky game from the 80s.
Oh.
Is that the one I wanted to know? Yes, the Tir Naranog. Probably terrible pronunciation.
Here is Maharaj again. Stokes waits. Maharaj in and bowls, and Stokes tries to play that one away on the leg side. Again, I think there was a little bit of turn there. Tony is collapsed into a heap next to us.
Oh, it's Maharaj. I may have to leave this to the end of the over.
Here's Maharaj to Stokes, and Stokes whips this away through mid-wicket to the man on the fence, who comes in and throws back to de Kock. A single accrues, and Nelson is on the board, 111 for 3. Yes, Jason responds by taking both feet off the floor.
Oh, okay. I thought he was part of his thinking process to work out how many words have been delivered through the old sound card.
It may be part of that as well, but I think it's more to do with Nelson being on the board. Superstition strikes. Here's Maharaj, and it's driven to extra cover by Denley.
Actually, I realise it's an easier computation than I thought. I'll tell you why when I come back.
Wow, fascinated. You've got a very mathematical mind,
Mathematician Hiscock.
Yeah, you do.
Here's Maharaj again, and Denley's right forward. Just playing it out to the man in short on the
Yeah, we're having
offside.
a change at the end of this over.
We are. We're having a switcheroo.
I'm going to, by hook or by crook, read Mog's tweet because it just made me laugh so much.
So here is Maharaj to end the over, and Denley lets that go through to the keeper. So
I'll just rattle us up to date. So Mog said, I can knock up something so polyphonic, so high fidelity, you'll need another new one after you play it. Maybe some black MIDI. I don't know what that is. How much do you need for a new one? Asked Vector Victoria. That's very sweet. I will let the bear respond to you by direct communication of some kind.
Yep, you owe us all right. You think
Is
this
the bear
alternative
coming in to
cricket
commentate?
commentary
He
stuff
is
comes
indeed.
cheap? Well, we need some dollar bills to help pay our bills. So please, go to patreon.com/Gorilla Cricket and sign up to make a regular monthly donation. You know there's literally nothing like Gorilla Cricket's coverage, so don't be tight. Dip into your virtual
Kiss me,
pocket
Hardy.
and throw some
Hardy?
cash our way.
Indeed.
See, Rihanna knows. Patreon.com/Gorilla Cricket.
Pay me what you want it.
Well, Nortje comes around the wicket to Stokes. He clips that beautifully out to deep mid wicket and get himself a single. Now, just don't make the mistakes that you made in the last test, Ben. Mind you, we all seem to be doing that. Whilst I was away on duties collecting sound cards, etc., we didn't lose a wicket. I was quite shocked. As soon as I get back, one fell.
We'll send you off again.
Yeah, I think you ought to.
Oh, well, we're off Nelson, so that's a good thing.
Okay, we put feet down. Not mine, we're up.
No.
Denley's on 31 for 118 balls. He's been very watchful, isn't he?
Well, it's kind of a good job as well.
He is. He's
you
doing
know.
a great job. You can't knock Denley these days, really.
Not really.
No. Has he got his last 3-4 innings have been 50s at least?
No, they're
No,
not
no,
50s.
he didn't in the second.
But they've
innings
been
last
solid.
year.
They've been
They have
solid.
been solid. Defended back down the track by Denley to Nortje.
Well, he
Picked it
actually-
up his follow through.
He actually got 21 off his first 46 balls.
I know.
And then didn't score for 49 deliveries.
Jesus. Well, if he's happy
So,
doing that, you know.
Well, again, I mean, it's a kind of it's fine if you're working in a partnership where the other
Yeah.
player is
Scoring runs.
scoring a few. I mean, you know, there aren't any real devils in this pitch. I don't think. I think it's a decent pitch for batting.
It certainly looks it at the moment. I mean, I did notice earlier, I was saying earlier on commentary, short pull nicely by Denley, but it's probably someone out there. There is indeed.
There
It's
is.
like Maharaj out there.
Under
It's
the
a
sun
deep
hat.
square leg. Gets himself a single. When they were marking out their where they were batting and stuff at the beginning of the day, and they're scraping the crease, it just looked like it was that kind of fine layer of grass. It looked like straw almost. So they do say it's dry and it'll turn. England get to bowl last on it if they can get enough runs. That is.
Well, that's key. I mean, the other thing is, I mean, I know they talked about there was one really good ball that went past the outside edge of Denley's bat, and one or two people getting quite excited about potential turn here. But we sometimes see that. You just see a freak ball will do something early on, and then you
Nothing happens
expect
for the rest
something
of
to
the day.
happen for the next 3 or 4 hours, and nothing happens. Absolutely. And I would suggest, on the basis that Maharaj has been bowling quite flat, that he doesn't think there's a lot
some
there.
cracks in the middle of the pitch that weren't necessarily there. Well, not cracks, but they look like as that's defended out to mid wicket. There's no run. The lines of the cracks. If it beats down with the sun, maybe they'll open up over the next few days and it'll get dusty.
Well, that's possible. I mean, the temperature's not forecast to be anything spectacular. I think it's only going up to 25, although it's supposed to be clearer tomorrow. It's not unclear today, is it? I mean, it's quite a nice day, but tomorrow they're suggesting there's not really going to be any cloud about. Another reason for England to bat long as well, really.
Yeah.
They don't want to be out while South Africans are making hay.
No. Also, the longer the bat, the more knackered they get when they come into bat. School ball pressure and all that. Outside the off stump, driven out by beautifully driven. He's got such good timing with Ben Stokes. He didn't really get in position. His bat was a long way from his pads, but he got forward and put his weight through the ball. Bounced into the ground and just past. Was that Philander? I think
so,
That's,
yes.
mid off, as
Flailing at it.
flailing at it, and it went past it. It's gone for 4 runs. It times the ball so well. And then Faf tried to spit out some chewing gum and it got stuck in his beard. It was quite amusing. And the camera went off him.
Yeah, Nortje. It was Nortje's look when he saw it was Philander trying to grasp that ball. It just looked,
For
oh
fuck's
no,
sake.
why is he at mid-off?
Yes, well, it's because you've got to hide him somewhere. In again, defended. Bottom hand comes off the bat and they go through for a quick single. Stokes was just watching a ball, but Denley was sharp enough to call him through. Rabada just ambles up to the ball and picks it up.
If you do want to contribute to the new sound card, rather than buying the old one for £5,000, at least that's the reserve price, then you can contact us through PayPal or Patreon and put in your donation. What do we reckon it's going to cost? 150 quid?
150 quid for the new sound card.
150 quid. So we've had a couple of donations so far, but we need quite a few more.
I mean, we are fortunate that there is a DJ stroke music shop literally within half a mile of here that I've used a few times. And whilst they have limited stock, they at least have stock that I can use. So I've had to race down there and buy one. I'm going to install it, hopefully, in tea break. Should be enough time. Only got to put an installer on, hopefully.
On the question of the sound card, Imagine says maybe the sound card can be incinerated with the remains encased in a jewelled box to be presented to the winning Gorilla team after each South Africa-England series. So that's between Gorilla Cricket UK and Gorilla Cricket South Africa.
That's an interesting one. Down the track comes Rooty. Stokes.
Really?
To Rooty's out. Stokes to Maharaj. He starts his next over, and he managed to clip it to mid-wicket. Quite hard, he can't field it, palms it off down to mid-on. There is no mid-on, mid-off has to come across and they get through for a single.
On Stokes' previous 4, I thought you were suggesting that Faf had spat out his chewing gum in a better attempt to field the ball than Philander had
quite
made,
possibly, yeah.
But there we are.
It might have been in disgust at Philander's attempt, yes.
Yeah.
Tossed up this time by Maharaj and just played to the deepish silly mid-off. And takes it and there's no run. 19 for 3 England. Maharaj in again, and this time Denley plays from the crease. It's angled in towards leg stump, just clips it out to mid-wicket. No run once more.
Cricket Blitherman says the adventures of the sound card are almost more entertaining than the cricket. Will it be stuffed and mounted on the wall at Gorilla Towers? Well, probably.
It'll go in a drawer as a spare just in case things go horribly wrong and we need to switch over to something that at least works at some point. That bird is still grazing around in the outfield, isn't it? It's got quite brazen, that thing. It's clipped out to mid-wicket by Denley, no run. Gets through his overs quickly, doesn't he, Maharaj? Up to the crease now, bowls, and again just played nicely by Denley, but straight to the man at cover. Looks like Van der Dussen, it is. And there's no run.
Yeah, on that question that Van der Dussen missing that slip chance shortly before Root was out, I think he's got a real problem with the way de Kock wants to go for everything.
Yeah, well, you either defended up to mid-on, it's Philander, and they go through for a quick single. And Denley steals the strike.
He's dropped 2 chances that I've seen where I feel that de Kock has
Massively
the
put him
movement
off.
has massively put him off. Yeah, I don't think this one was quite as bad. It was a higher ball to take, sort of shoulder height. But the one in the test last week, he dived almost right in front of him, and that's really no good when you're trying to concentrate on the ball.
No.
A couple of times. That said, I mean, I think the delivery that got rid of Crawley earlier today, de Kock had to go in front of first slip to actually ensure that it was taken, because I think it was probably going to land a little bit short of him.
Well, of course, that was Philander and this was Nortje, so it's going to carry further. But I mean, yeah, I think the way that they eventually reacted to the dismissal of Root, where de Kock jumps into his arms, suggests that he thought he might have put him off the previous time.
Clipped into the leg side by Denley. Mid-wicket is vacant. In fact, it's very vacant there. There's a kind of wide-ish mid-on, and the rest are out in the outfield on the leg side, and that's a single.
Darren Macy says, we humans are I don't know what this is to do with imagining big numbers. It would take about 25 days to count to 1 million, but about 30 years to get to 1 billion. Oh, I see what you mean, the comparison, yeah. But I'm not sure what that was in relation to be honest.
That was talking about how many words had been spoken on the card. Yes. Tony suggested it may be billions or trillions, and Jason disagreed.
Right.
Short
attempted pull by Stokes, and he misses it. It hits in the chest, and there's no run. You might feel he missed out a bit there. It's not really getting up like it did in Centurion, is it? Short balls aren't getting up to head height, they're getting chest height. And maybe, that hit him on the elbow actually. That was quite a painful one. And wore it.
That's the last thing England want, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've already got one elbow. One elbow injury. We don't need another one.
Yeah.
That is nasty. Very nasty. It's on the forearm. I'm not sure technically what the muscle is there, but yeah, that's nasty.
Someone is moving behind Nortje's arm. Yes. It's a young lady with a man following her.
No connection between the two necessarily.
And this bird, Nortje doesn't like this bird. This bird has been there pretty much all day. He likes Nortje, and there's obviously some tasty shit in the ground down there.
Yeah, what is he? Did we find out what he is?
Yeah.
There must be some ornithologists out there who listen to us who could...
It's got a long beak, curved down.
And very spindly legs.
Of the Ibis family.
Who is that bird?
Round the wicket, Nortje. This time it is pulled by Stokes. Fine down to long leg, but I think Pretorius down there. And that'll just be a single.
Pierre de la Touche has been in touch. Says, afternoon greetings from the UK. I have a feeling there's another self-flagellating collapse around the corner. Could be right.
Oh God, that'd be a disaster.
Mog says on the sound card issue, dare I ask what kind of card you got? P.S. I shall sling you some cash since I do get a bit of use from it myself.
Well, I've just bought a Scarlet, Focusrite Scarlet 2i2, Generation 4.
What the heck does that mean?
And the old one was a Tascam US 122, and they don't make them anymore, but they're quite handy. We've had if we're going to get geeky about it, as Nortje is in, and it's clipped nicely by Denley out towards deep mid-wicket. Maharaj has to come round. They'll get back for 2 this time. We had a Tascam US 144, but that was really annoying and didn't work with a lot of stuff. It had lots of combinations of inputs and outputs, and so that got binned a while ago. It's a spare again, but it doesn't really work with Wirecast, if I remember rightly. Nicecast, which is what we broadcast out of, and it had problems working with Skype too, so it was a bit tricky. Nortje is in short again and pulled once more by Denley, and they're trying to short stuff now, and Maharaj is out deep in wicket, straight to him this time, so it'll only be a single. Poor throw in.
Well, it's not a bad idea when you consider how poorly Root played Nortje's last bouncer.
I thought that Root was quite decent out a short ball.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw a suggestion that perhaps the bounce is less than what we had at Centurion, which I think is probably true, and he was playing for a ball that was going to bounce a little bit more, but he does sometimes take his eye off the ball.
He leaves his hands high.
Yeah, well, I mean, he tucks himself up, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He sort of head goes down towards his hands, and his hands are sort of chest height, and that gets him into a bit of trouble.
Yeah, he needed to drop them a lot lower than he did.
Well, you need to sway
Well, he
inside
couldn't because he'd taken his eye off the ball.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Stokes plays it out to mid-wicket. There's no run. Last ball of that over. 1 for 34, Nortje. Denley's on 37. Stokes is on 10. England 125 for 3.
Genro has been in touch with a variety of pictures of foxes. It looks like a fox eating some sort of fungi at 7 o'clock. By 7:30, seeing about 4 other foxes, and then completely gone after that. And wonders whether it's our Gorilla Cricket foxes, of course, that we had in the back garden not
It's
so
a
long
long way
ago.
for them to travel. There were a couple of foxes fighting in the alleyway outside our house last night.
Oh, were there?
Jesus.
Are you sure they were fighting, or it was some sort of love?
No,
making?
it wasn't love making.
Oh, really?
It was definitely fighting, and they were bloody noisy.
Well, they do make a noise, don't they, in the night? Sometimes hear them. I do now.
Tossed up, nicely driven by Denley, and I presume mid off his back. He is indeed. And will just be the single.
Cricket Blitherment says, so along with being Chief Technical Officer, co-founder, Head of Swearing, Drinking Expert, Plumbers Crack Division Manager, Chair of the Jingle Approval Committee, and I've lost the rest. Where's it gone? It'll come back in a minute. Spin Bowling Coach, Slum Landlord, and ICC Infiltration Envoy. What other titles does the Hoff Bear have?
Well,
I think that's probably covered it.
Yes.
Now the moment you've all been waiting for. The Gorilla Sound Card has its own Twitter handle now.
yes.
Of course it does.
Excellent.
I'll give you their first tweet, and it's from the heart, I can tell you.
Maharaj bowling over the wicket to Stokes. It's a bit short, and he just goes back in his crease and allows to come on the bat and plays it square out to Nortje. Can't see who that is under the hat. I think it's Nortje. At square leg, and he gets himself off the strike with a single. He's on to 11 of 15. He's not hanging about at Stokesy, but that's good. Then he's 38 of 129. He's facing up now, Maharaj. Oh, rolled him! He's gone straight through the fucking gap, you muppet, Denley. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. He's propped forward, but he's left the gap, and the ball hasn't spun at all, and it's gone straight on through the gap and bowled him, clean bowled him. Denley is gone for 38. England 127 for 4. Oh, for fuck's sake.
The collapse is on.
Let's give him a jingle. Send him off. That's poor. He's just... There's too much of a gap, isn't he?
Yeah.
If he'd had his batted pad together, it'd have hit him outside the line. Couldn't have been LBW. and if it hadn't hit the bat. But
well, he's played for a little bit of turn that isn't there.
He's still got to keep the
but
bat and pad together.
He does leave a big gap between bat and pad.
It wasn't a massive gap.
I mean,
it's
if you
enough,
think,
isn't it?
What, first innings in Centurion, inside edge, caught behind. You know, he that is one of his major problems, is this gap between bat and pad. I think, you know, it's kind of forgivable in that sense because he's thinking there's going to be a little bit of turn and he's covering a little bit for that, but all goes straight on and he's completely done.
You've got to have your bat and pad together if you're playing that, aren't you?
Well, I mean, yeah, but you know, when you do think it may turn, and if you think it's going to turn a little bit, and he has been beaten by one good one, it makes you a little bit more uncertain, and you try to cover all angles in a sense. So the potential is there to leave that gap.
But it's a pretty innocuous ball.
It
really,
is an
isn't
innocuous
it?
ball to get
it's
out
a
to.
straight ball.
It really is.
He's just missed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which, you know, is pretty much unforgivable.
So really, looking at the situation today, you've got England have lost 4 wickets and 3 of them have been soft dismissals.
And 3 of them have got starts as well, haven't they?
You know.
Oh, I forgot Ollie Pope.
Sibley's playing at a ball that he shouldn't be playing at.
Yeah.
Root's not got his hands out of the way, taken his eye off a short ball. Denley's effectively missed a straight ball.
Yep.
You know, really only Crawley's got
a good ball,
decent
really.
ball, yeah.
Any excuses, and as a result, England are 130 odd for 4 on a very good batting wicket.
Yeah.
And in trouble again.
Yeah. Indeed.
Absolutely.
It's the cursed tour. It's the cursed tour, I tell you. Let's have
God,
a
I'm
jingle
not
for
taking
the
that
new man.
Rubbish.
What?
Cursed
it is. It's
tour.
cursed. That's
Of
my
curse.
excuses. I'm getting my excuses in early.
Nonsense.
Pope is in.
We
he's
reject
defended the
that.
first ball out to Sillyman off, no run. I liked Pope in his last innings in
New Zealand. Yeah, batted well.
He can't do any worse than fucking Bairstow anyway. And Maharaj tosses that up. It's defended out towards extra cover and there's no run. What are you looking for? It'll be England. You have to scroll up on the little bar. There you go.
We've lost England. Here
Yeah.
we are. We found them again.
Do it after this ball.
Tossed up by Maharaj. And defended on the back foot by Ollie Pope. Down the track, there's no run.
Right, it's the end of the over. Gorilla Sound Card. The Gorilla Sound Card is talking, and I'll tell you what he says in a minute after this jingle.
Finally found Ollie Pope. Not turned at all.
No, it hasn't.
The Gorilla Sound Card says, "You talk about me as if I can't hear you. I hear everything, including Bear's most personal noises." Well, we really don't want to know that. So are you surprised if I crackle a bit?
Well,
We thought it's just old age.
it's just old age, mate. Over the hill.
Pierre de la Touche suggests that Joe Denley got the short straw for the Jeffrey Boycott DNA test match transfusion. And Box says, "I imagine Simon Gear over at Gorilla South Africa could tell you what kind of bird that is."
I'm sure he will.
Oh, Peter Watson from Peter Watson RSA, which gives it away a little bit, says, "Colloquially, the bird is known as a ha-dee-da, as that is the sound it makes whilst flying."
Ah.
Okay, but what's its technical name?
Rabada is in around a wicket, and Stokes drives out to mid wicket. There's no one. And that's the annoying thing. If you look at that scorecard, you've got 3 batsmen who've got into the 30s and then got out.
Yeah. Well,
And that's kind of unforgivable
I guess as well that is the issue
with England.
that some, and also that some people have with Denley, because we were talking about him earlier, and some people were making it clear that he has detractors and whatever. And the problem is, if you score slowly and you make 30 or 40, that isn't enough. That's the problem.
Well, yeah, it is. But when no one else is scoring, it makes you look good. Stokes thinks about pulling that, then thinks about getting out of the way, and then eventually just defends it out into the offside, and there's no run. It really isn't getting up like they expected to get up. I think Centurion has spoilt them a little bit for what they expect to bounce, and certainly the short balls are only getting up chest height, which is probably better for the bowlers, to be fair.
Yeah, it is, and I mean I think this is a pitch that potentially Stokes could be useful on as a bowler.
He didn't bowl him enough in the last test.
No, and in fact when he came on he took a wicket, didn't he? He took a couple of wickets.
They'll have to this time, won't they? Because he's now the 4th seamer rather than the 5th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Indeed so. Dave Wood says, "I think the outgoing sound card deserves one last Hendo rant," and Gorilla Sound says, "Rant me up, Hendo." Well, I'll do my best. I could rant about Joe Denley, maybe at the end of this over.
Rabada in, and that's 2 wide of the off stump. Stokes slips through to the keeper, and there's no run.
It does seem that England, any technical deficiency that an England batsman has will be found out. It seems by almost every bowling attack in a way that our bowling attack doesn't seem to be able to do to our opposition. And that is, I mean, it's been obvious to us that Joe Denley has this slight problem between bat and pad. But you didn't really expect it to be the spinner that was going to get him with one that doesn't turn.
No, indeed. Rabada around the wickets, defended nicely by Stokes up to mid-off. Philander Fields, no run.
But now this partnership becomes incredibly important. I mean, not just because we want to have some hope that Pope is the real deal.
Hope from Pope.
Hope from Pope. But also Stokes, of course, who is coming up. Well, last time he played here, got 258 in a fantastic display. But, really need a good, long partnership, don't we? Really do.
We do indeed. Rabada around the wicket, driven nicely by Stokes, but straight to Philander at mid-off, and there is no run. This should be the last over for tea. They might get one more in.
Just seems a shame again that we're talking about a young player coming to the crease with massive amounts of pressure on him because those above him haven't quite delivered.
Yeah. Oh no! It's half an hour before tea.
What are you talking about? Tea,
sorry, because the games that start at 8, 12:40 would be tea, wouldn't it? But it started at 8:30, so there's no half an hour left yet.
Yeah.
I was thinking about getting changed over the sound card. Rivardo's in, and again Stokes,
he wants to pull that, doesn't he? And then
he does want to pull it,
himself.
and he's stopping himself and just defending it into the offside. But he gets squared up and looks in a very uncomfortable position. Seems to have time. And there's no run. Tony, can you bring me a beer from the fridge, please?
I'm just wondering, is it because the ball's not coming on as quickly as he expects it to, or isn't bouncing as much as he expects it to, or is it because he's aware of men being back and that if he hits it in the air, that he'll people will be saying, oh, he's thrown his wicket away.
And
if he
of
gets
the
it
situation
wrong.
again,
in
the game where if he gets out, we're absolutely in the cart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not completely, but we potentially could collapse to under 200 all out. Yes, totally.
There's some bowlers hitting their straps in this series. There's 3 bowlers with 5 wickets in the first test. 5 bowlers, sorry, with 5 wickets or more in the first test.
Well, it's a bowler's series, isn't it?
Yeah, well, you'd have thought so with these two batting lineups.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, with Nortje, I mean, I must admit, I really wasn't impressed by his first spell in the first test, but he's come back well, hasn't he? And he is definitely shaking up one or two batsmen with a shorter ball and with his pace in general.
Round the wicket, Maharaj. Down the track a little bit comes Pope and drives it back to him, and there's no run.
He's brought a man from the off Hayden that he had for Joe Denley. He's now brought a man in at a regulation silly mid-off. I think that's Van der Dusen, isn't it?
Good pressure on the new batsman.
Yeah. But Pope defends the next ball, straight back to him, no run.
I'm not sure I'd pick Van der Dusen, given his recent catch and drop ratio.
I feel a bit sorry for him. I think he's struggling with the way that de Kock keeps wicket.
But that's nicely played by Pope. Plays it really late, goes back. It wasn't that short, but he realised it was a bit wide. And really let the hands come through late and cut it behind square. But unfortunately hit the fielder who's back there, and there's no runs. He had to get off the mark. He's faced 6 balls. Quite busy at the crease, down the leg side, and he can't beat Rabada, he's a man on a 45, just behind square, and there is no run.
Yeah, I think that's irritating for Pope because he thought immediately he played that, he thought that's a run. That's
exactly.
I'm off the mark now, and then realised he wasn't because of where Rabada is placed.
It's quite a stylish batsman. I quite like Pope from what I saw in New Zealand. Has defended out into the covers, and there's no run. He's got first class average of over 50, hasn't he?
Yeah,
indeed,
60.
yeah.
Well, sometimes that can be because it takes a while for players to be worked out and bowlers to work him out. And in fact, I suppose the more exposure that he gets at the test level, then people will pick up weaknesses.
Indeed, defends that back down the track. Maharaj fields off his own bowling into the over. 1 for 32. Maharaj on England 127 for 4.
And also, I think that was interesting from Faf there, the captaincy, or perhaps Maharaj's own bowler, that after, I think, 4 balls of that over, he took the silly mid off and placed him to silly mid on. And it just keeps, especially as a player who hasn't got into his stride, he's yet to get off the mark, just keeps you guessing a little bit as a batsman. I think that's quite good stuff.
And waiting as well.
Yeah, indeed. Mog says, I was using a Focusrite thing for a while, but it fucked the hell out of my machine and weirdly swapped into mono at times. Take your technical discussions and
shove them out your arse.
Get a room is what I would say, basically. Martin White, afternoon chaps, how are we all? Not too bad.
Not too bad. Driven by Stokes, straight to Philander once again. It's a three-man game at the moment with these three.
Tony Bishop tweets from the other room and he says, Jason and I reckon that our beloved sound card will have delivered around 289,080,000 words of gorilla wisdom in its life. Our dear
Good
sound
grief,
card.
how have we worked that out?
Yeah, I'd like to know how the workings of that
How did
works.
you work that out? Yeah. Grubby's with us says the image of foxes making love is an enduring one.
Oh! Played out by Stokes. No need to. It was wide as off stump. He's trying to force it off the back foot without really moving his feet at all. It's just hands towards the ball.
Bounced a bit though.
Bounced a bit and beat the outside edge through the keeper. There's no run. Where's my beer? God damn it, people!
Where's my beer? The plaintive cry. How many times has that been said on
This sound
on
card.
that sound card?
Quite a lot.
I think 284 million. 80,000.
It was a cross-seam delivery, that one.
Never mind about how many words have been on the sound card. Bring him a beer.
Absolutely.
That's imprinted on the sound card's memory, I imagine.
Give us a beer.
Guerrilla Cricket South Africa put us out of our misery with regards to birds. I'll tell you about that in a moment.
Driven again by Stokes. Bravada Fields on his follow-through, no run.
It is a Hadida Ibis. It
I told you it was an Ibis, didn't I?
It is the bane of suburban South Africa. A loud call, Hadida! In the early mornings, it's like a rooster from hell. Well, I think I always thought a rooster was from my friend had a next door neighbour with a rooster, and there was all sorts of conflabs over that. I have to say, worse than people having late night parties.
They're talking about variable bounce, seam up deliveries and cross seam.
Suggesting that cross seam is bouncing a little more.
Yeah, pulled nicely, and that ain't going to be stopped by no one. That's a good shot by Stokes. Sat up, didn't get high enough, and it was just there for the pull. And Stokes did pull it straight out to mid-wicket for 4 runs.
2 + 2 is
That's 6. That's no good.
Not one more for me, I must have 2 or 3, I need 4.
It gets a double jingle, that shot.
Yeah, it did.
Victor Pretorius replying to messages and Gary Naylor, presumably saying about KP, any chance he can pad up and go into the middle. I expect he'd still do better than most of our middle order.
Rabada. Outside, Stokes is off stump through the keeper, no run.
Yes.
Mog says, we call your average Ibis a bin chicken over here. bin chicken. And Pirate Badger on the high seas says, when you say bane of suburban South Africa, I hope they aren't as unfairly maligned as the poor seagull here is in North Dublin. Solidarity.
Well, seagulls are like flying rats, much like pigeons.
Flying rats.
Harsh.
Well, they are. They're aggressive.
Cold.
The seagulls here are aggressive, though, aren't
Cold, man.
they? Rabada in, driven straight back down the track by Stokes.
fielded.
Palmed by Rabada to mid-on, no run.
Ross McD has joined us and says, greetings from Korea. It's pretty much everything that can go wrong going wrong on this tour. No, I won't have that. I will not have this cursed tour.
We've got to get our excuses in.
England have just been bad. They were bad in New Zealand. And they've been bad here. Okay, they've had problems with illness and injury, but I mean, the injury was self-inflicted. The illness, obviously, you can't do anything about. We don't really know a lot about the Jofra Archer injury at the moment, apart from it's being an elbow.
Well, I mean that doesn't. I mean that's just an injury that's happened.
Wear and tear, I
it's
suppose.
wear and tear. That's.
But you could argue, has he been over-bowled? Has he been used poorly by Root? You know, as some people have.
I think he has.
Which might have been contributing to that.
I think he has been over-bowled, and I'm on record as saying I wouldn't have taken him to New Zealand for a 2-test tour that was non-test championship, and I think they may be paying the price for that right now.
Defended back up the track, no run.
Should this Crick Tracker be working there? It doesn't seem to be on my You
need to go to Crick Track and go to videos. Because
can't
that's
do
the
that
last video that's finished, you see.
I can't do it with the left hand while doing other things.
Down the track comes Pope, nicely played, threads it through the onside. Philander's chasing it. It's a good chase, the ball is winning. He finally gets there just before the boundary, down at long on. And they should get back for 3. Pope gets himself off the mark. He'll feel happier now.
It was almost as if Philander wasn't so much chasing that as accompanying it to the boundary.
Yes. He does carry a bit of timber, doesn't he, Philander?
Running alongside it.
It was kind of,
yeah.
wasn't it? Yes. Oh dear. Mog says drop Root. Hashtag.
Oh, here we go.
He's never been a big fan of Root, has he? I don't think, Mog.
short by Maharaj, and Stokes punches it back down the track. He dives across, gets a hand to it to knock it to mid-on, and there is no run.
Something about Stokes here that I'm going to bring to the conversation after this ball.
Tossed up, back down track, there's no run.
I sometimes get the impression with Stokes, brilliant as he is, that if he didn't try to hit everything quite so hard, he might pick up more singles. I just feel those things with the Rabada. He's played good shots.
Played into leg side by Stokes this time. Thinks about a run, but the wicket comes across and fields, and there's no run.
He's played good shots, but he's hit them quite hard to fielders, and I just think, you know, rather than going for the boundary perhaps and hitting it straight to a fielder, he could be working it a little bit more.
I think this is part of him just wanting to be imposing even in defence, isn't it?
Yes.
And sometimes it works against him a little bit for that reason.
Tossed up, and this time Stokes beats Maharaj as he plays it back down the track, and it goes down the long on. He'll get himself a single and retain the strike at the end of the over.
Adrian Lowe says, to cheer us all up after losing a big wicket, can you keep the live feed on so we may watch the bear work his magic on our lost friend, the sound card?
Well, I'll be underneath the camera, so you won't see me.
He'll be out of... Well, I suppose we could move the camera if we were that... Well, we probably can't be bothered. Tony Bishop says, 2 redheads at the crease in the Cape Town Test. Have we seen this movie before? Well, I'll tell you what, if it's a sequel to the last one, then it'll be worth watching if it's a good sequel. Wikipedia, the Hadida Ibis, the Bostrichia hagadash is this technical term, also called hadada, is an ibis native to sub-Saharan Africa. It is named for its loud 3 to 4 note calls uttered in flight, especially in the mornings and evenings when they fly out or return to their roost. That is courtesy of Peter Watson, RSA.
Oh, nicely timed by Stokes, but straight to the man at mid-wicket, and
That's
no run.
that's the point I was making.
That's kind of the example that you were...
You know, he just
drawing,
plays that a
isn't
bit
it?
later with a bit more subtlety, and he gets it square and he gets a single. It's almost as if he wants to stay there when there may be a chance later in the over of hitting a 4, rather than taking the single.
Those people next door are rubbish. Bear! God damn it. It's been a stressful morning for the bear.
We've had a switch of cars.
That's a beautiful shot.
That's a
though.
cracking
See, that's
shot.
beautiful timing by Stokes as it just comes onto the bat. He never really flourishes with a shot, doesn't he? He just like blocks it. Timing is so sweet. It pings off the bat, past cover, and out to the boundary for 4.
Grubby says, I disagree about Denley. In the current setup, a slow 30 or 40 is more valuable from our test number 3 than a quick one. Yes.
I agree. I don't disagree with that.
I had to lie down. I had to fucking lie down. What are you on about?
Because he just calculated how many words have been said on the sound card, for goodness sake.
Left alone this time by Stokes, outside his off stunt through the keeper. No run.
More news on the Hadida. Gordon Wells says, the call of the Hadida is a great wonder of the natural world, and sends us a YouTube video that I'm not going to watch now. I'm not going to listen to it now, but I may have a little look at that later. England's bowling very good at exploring the technical deficiency of opposing bats. It's just that test batsmen from other countries have fewer glaring technical deficiency. That's him disagreeing with my point of a few
Not
minutes
necessarily
ago.
true. I think there are a lot of batting lineups that are quite weak. I think bowlers are on top at the moment, generally worldwide. Short pulled again by Stokes. When it gets over the top of it, rides it down to long leg where Pretorius is fielding.
Blade Picker says Root is no longer anywhere near world class when he is spoken in the same terms as Kohli and Smith, as he was not so long ago. Needs the captaincy taken off him. I'd draft Morgan in for his captaincy alone. If
fuck
back
off.
is up
Morgan,
to it.
who said that?
Well, people have said... I mean, I had to...
In a test side?
Blade Picker is... Oh, come on, Bear. I mean, Blade Picker's not the first person to say that. You know, in a sense of that he... You know, he's almost a non-playing captain. But
he has
but
to
also
play.
go back to the fact that, yeah, he hasn't scored runs in 4-day cricket for a long time, hasn't played very much of it.
Guided nicely by Pope down through the gap between gully and the slips. It's not quite reached the boundary. There's 4 runs.
Well, again, guys, my response to that as a Middlesex watcher is Morgan's last 12 innings for Middlesex, 51 runs.
Yeah, I mean, what you've got to look back at is that he could have been a better test player or a better longer form player if he'd concentrated on it a bit more. I mean, the fact of the matter is he has become almost a white ball specialist. I mean, you've got to remember he's got 2 test hundreds. You know, going back maybe 9 years. Or
Yeah,
so,
I think
9 years.
I think he could have been whatever he wanted to be. But I think he's now defined himself.
Left alone outside the off stump through the keeper and there's no one. He's defined himself as a white ball player. I mean, he did captain England's side very well, but I mean, it kind of, white ball cricket, to a degree, kind of captains itself. Yeah.
Well, the other thing you got to think is, I mean, has he got the patience for Test match cricket, even as a captain? I mean, I'm not talking about just as a batsman, but if you are used to playing the 50-over game and the various different tactics that are involved in that, it's still a different skill to be able to captain a Test team.
Absolutely.
Well, I think it's the thing that it's a point to be made. I don't particularly agree with it, but I also take the point that there are no natural captains out there that we know of, apart from maybe Rory Burns.
Well, this is the thing. I think you've got to go to someone who has played county game and captain in a long form of the game. And I mean, Root, captain Yorkshire once and got hammered from a massive lead. We have a new bowler who's coming back into the attack. The notorious Pretorius. Dwayne as well. Terrible name, Dwayne.
He's been very economical, hasn't he?
He has.
5 runs from 5 overs.
Number 7, I think. Number 7.
Pretorius. Dwayne Pretorius.
And his first ball is turned off of Stokes' pads down. Long leg once more for another single. I mean, Burns is captain of at least a captain of a long form team. Didn't he win the county championship?
He did. And then, but the other thing you got to say about Burns is, I mean, the more Test cricket he plays, the less, until or unless he becomes captain, the less 4-day cricket he'll play for Surrey, and therefore, you might say the skill you won't lose those skills, or those to a certain extent. But I mean, obviously, the more you do it, the better you become, I think.
But he looks kind of nuggety player, even though he's got a terrible haircut. He might, it might suit him.
Well, it might
have the responsibility. I don't know, but I mean, he's certainly. I mean, he looks just in this series and the one in New Zealand. Pope defends it out to mid wicket and there's no run. He just looks like the man who's got a feel that he's now in the side, and it does in the world of good, and it makes him look a hell of a lot more confident.
Well, you might have said at the end of this series, and you think then another 2 tests in Sri Lanka. By the summer, if things are still not going particularly well under Root, that you may look at that. But he's now ruled himself out of 3 games in a row, which is no help to anyone.
Pretorius is in and it's defended back down the track and there's no run. And it might also, Zach Crawley got out to a good one this morning, but even though he was supposed to be coming in as a kind of middle order, progressive into the side, it might. Being thrown in at the deep end might do him some good.
Well, we thought about that, but I mean, he's got to spend some time out there. He's got to get through that period, hasn't he, where things are difficult. And he got a decent ball. You can't really, look at that and say he did anything particularly wrong.
Pretorius in again, and Pope defends that up to mid off, and there's no run.
Guerrilla Cricket and Mog are having discussion about birds. The bin chicken that Mog refers to, those are the sacred Ibis that you guys somehow imported from Africa. Not Fred Titmus has joined us from Cape Town and says, play the archive and start counting, Tony. No need to guess. Oh, God, yeah. Can you believe that? That could be a form of torture, couldn't it?
Count the amount of words on our
Well,
archive.
no, not just that. Just play the whole archive to someone in prison.
Dear.
I don't know. See the progression of guerrilla cricket through the years as that's defended up the track. There's no. And you got to remember the first 2 years there was no background noise.
Was it 2 years we went without crowd? Really?
Yeah.
Are you sure? I think we got
and
the
there
crowd
was
pretty early.
dissent when I first brought it in.
Well, I know there was dissent, but I think we got it quite early in the piece. I think
I didn't bring it in until we were at Katie's. Oh yeah, so it would have been about a year.
Yeah, not 2 years.
Not 2 years.
Mog says we've imported a lot of shit animals. It's true.
It's true. You complain about them all too. That's come off the. That did jag in a little bit. Didn't
it?
But Pope was up to it, kicked it quite nicely, but couldn't beat the man at mid wicket. There's 2 mid wickets in. There's a short and deeper one, and there's no run.
Yeah, they like that idea. I think that's a good move actually. If you're going to bowl that kind of ball, to have those 2 guys there, he does clip the ball, but sometimes in the air. I thought with that last ball, he was quite surprised by the movement.
Yeah.
And he didn't have quite as much control as he thought he should have had. And it sort of slightly fooled him a little bit. Cricket Blitherman says, this hilarious and rather sweary song about birds is mainly about bin chickens, and he sends us a YouTube link to that.
So is the bin chicken in Australia, is it the same ibis that's in South Africa? I've seen them in Kenya as well, those birds.
No, it's from sub-Saharan Africa originally.
Yeah, I know, but I've seen them in Kenya.
But are they called the bin chicken in Africa? I suspect not. Gorilla Soundcard says, I have every one of those 289,080,000 words recorded, and I hate to break it to you that the wisdom quotient is actually disappointingly low.
What are you on about? There's plenty of wisdom here.
Very good.
Talking of which, Mog says, where's my beer? The Nigel Walker story coming to Netflix this year.
Oh, I tell you what I watched on Netflix as that's played up to mid-off and there's no run. They got a new series that came out. I've watched the whole thing already. Messiah.
Oh, is it good?
It's very interesting, actually.
Okay,
it's a bit slow at places.
Don't tell me anything about it, because
No.
I haven't watched. I'm still working my way through Breaking Bad.
Oh, you? Oh,
Yeah,
my
I haven't
God.
watched it for a couple of weeks now, which is I'm getting sort of withdrawal symptoms. So I've been so busy. Tony Bishop says, take the number you first thought of and double it. I think that's to do with the sound card. And Gorilla Sound Card comes back and says the bollocks figure is redacted in order to protect the public.
Defended back down the track by Stokes as the Rabada continues around the wicket.
It's all a bit.
There's no run.
It's all a bit Hitchhiker's Guide.
Yes, well-
this calculate the number of words on the sound card, isn't it? It's a bit sort of.
I actually think that if you play the whole of the archive, there are only two people on it, and they're Gary and Knackle. We should have a change, shouldn't we? I mean, is it time for...
Gosh,
we should have had a change
about
about
20
20 minutes ago. We've got 5 minutes till tea.
Oh, is it? Okay,
Yeah,
we'll
we'll carry on till tea.
Right.
Played by Stokes into the onside, and there is no run.
Yeah, it's all a bit. I've worked out the answer to life, the universe, and everything.
It's 42.
You're
isn't it?
not going to like it. Tell us anyway. It's 42. What? You mean you spent 29 billion light years working that out? I told you weren't going to like it.
Oh my God, you know it off by heart.
I do,
That's a very
I do.
worrying
I do.
development.
Sadly.
I don't think I've ever read it, to be honest.
That's a good book. It's a very good book.
Fabulous stuff.
Around the wicket, Rabada. And through the keeper, there's no run.
Blade Picker says, Ibis are considered dirty, horrible, disease-laden thieves, which means it makes perfect sense why the awful... What are you doing, Bear?
Well, considering you can't get up any... I was going to Facebook to get some Facebook messages.
Ibis are considered dirty, horrible, disease-laden thieves, which makes it perfect sense why the awful hotel chain took on the name. The Ibis in Durban are not the Ibis that are in Sydney. The Sydney ones are a different colour and bigger and live in whatever they find in the rubbish. Oh, I thought you were talking about the hotels then.
Around the wicket, Rabada, and defended by Stokes back up the track.
Now, Durban Oak has come back to join us because he says, I turned back because Gorilla South Africa are sounding too happy and smug. That's because they're doing quite well.
Absolutely. You wait.
Yes.
Wait until they're not.
Comrade Bernsky says, how can you believe this tour is not cursed? Even the Gorilla Sound Card was not immune.
Well, that's true.
Very good.
And immediately, Gorilla Sound asks to be exorcised.
Jabbed down a little bit outside edgy, but jabbed into the ground by Stokes. Down to gully, and there's no run.
Daben Irk says, maybe not ready to go for a bike ride on Table Mountain.
Can you imagine that?
And another
Not really.
much missed member of our Twitter's fan club, Hendo's Kidney Stone, has been in touch. Saying, hi guys, Twitter has just asked me for my birthday. Can Hendo remember the day he thrust me out into this cruel world? Well, no, I can remember when I had you, but I don't remember when you escaped because you were that small that you passed unnoticed.
That was a Bangladesh tour, wasn't it?
It was near. One of them was near Christmas. I can remember that.
It was. I'm sure it was the Bangladesh tour.
Oh yeah, I just had to sweat it out for a couple of matches, didn't I? Yeah, that's right.
Over the wicket, Pretorius is into Pope, who's much slower, 121 k's. It's not very fast. It's left alone outside as I stuck through the keeper, and there's no run.
Crack de Bear says, "Are we not twins, Hendo Stone, born out of wedlock and deserted by our parents?" Yes, it could well be that. It could well be that.
It's that time of the day.
Indeed. Well, 143 for 4. Remember, England were 142 for 3 in the first innings in Centurion.
Yep. Defending the onside, there's no one. If someone gets a big score here, we can still get a decent score. It's just someone has to step up and get a score.
Do it.
And that's clipped into mid-wicket, no run.
Yeah, I think the pitch has got a little bit slower since the ball has
got older,
lost in its shine or got older. Yeah, I mean, we're now into 55, 56 overs, near enough. So just maybe sticking the pitch a little bit.
Up to crease Pretorius. I mean, that's pretty slow. And it's defended by Pope out to Maharaj, who's at straightish cover, and there's no run.
It's slow, but it's accurate. I mean, he's not trying to do anything
no,
special.
he's very similar to bloody Fernando, isn't he, really? Bit taller, but similar sort of pace.
Yeah.
Similar, I mean, he's not as good. He's trying to do the same sort of thing, though. It's just a bit of wobble and a bit of getting it away from the batsman.
But I think he's a guy who was a lot quicker, and he's opted for accuracy because of injury problems.
Defended by Pope. Once again, Maharaj comes around from cover to field as it goes towards Rabada at mid-off. He couldn't be asked to move by looks of things, and there is no run.
That was a dubious point made with hyperbolic conviction by the soon-to-be replaced sound card, says Dave Emrys, to adapting a theme, as it were.
By those listening, if you're listening on tunings, it's still crackling away, I presume, as that's played out to mid-wicket again. Nicely timed, there's no run.
And remember, of course, we do have the original sound card is up for auction, reserve price of £5,000. So don't seem to have had any
takers
so far, but you know, if you would like to own that sound card. Mutton Lamb Chops says, I just want England to be batting in the morning so I can listen without secretly having to do so at work. Yeah, I know that feeling. It's depressing, isn't it?
Pretorius up to the crease, driven nicely by Pope, but can't beat the offside as Rabada goes around the field and flings it at the stumps, I think. There's no run.
I mean, look at that. Pretorius has bowled 7 overs and gone for 6 runs. I mean, you can argue that England need to be rotating the strike a bit more effectively, that they are playing too many of these firm shots straight to fielders, aren't they? They're not actually trying to play something a little bit unorthodox, or I don't mean unorthodox, but just working the ball a little bit. 143 for 4. We're going to get one more before tea?
I think it's harder to work the ball off someone that's slow, isn't it? I mean,
it is a little bit.
You've got to actually play a shot to get anything out of it.
Yeah, and I mean,
with the quicker bowlers, you can guide it and glide it and stuff.
And if someone is bowling that accurately, you're going to be taking a little bit of a risk. Yeah. I mean, we saw Root do that in the first innings of the first test. Not that he needed to at that stage, really. That was the annoying thing.
He came down the track and then
came down the track and tried to nerd it, didn't he?
Shot.
Yeah, it was awful. Rabada, he's been quite expensive, hasn't he? He's been one of the more expensive bowlers in this series so far.
Defended by Stokes towards cover.
But if I was Faf du Plessis, I wouldn't be worried about that because Rabada's my strike bowler.
Yeah.
So if he goes for a few more, so what? If you've got someone bowling 7 overs for 6 at the other end,
precisely,
you could afford to let Rabada attack.
Exactly, he can do what he likes.
It wasn't meant as a criticism at all. It was, they're bowling well as a team in that respect.
Well, it's the same as Sam Curran, really.
Yeah.
And someone like Archer.
Around a wicket, Rabada, played by Stokes. I mean, the thing is with Stokes, he just times it so well. He doesn't really have to play a shot. He just blocks his bat there, and occasionally it just pings out the middle, doesn't it?
Just out of force of will, almost,
yeah.
Doesn't
it? Sometimes he doesn't flourish and follow through. It just
it doesn't need to. He plays so
really
late. That's what it is, and meets it with the full face of the bat, generally speaking.
What is that behind us?
It's a brewery.
Is it a brewery?
Yeah.
It's the Castle Brewery, isn't it? Is that right?
I don't know.
Pulled nicely by Stokes. I'm presuming there's someone out there. Yeah, well, there is, but he's a bit straighter, so they should come back for 2. And they do indeed. Now, of course, they've got the new man. I mean, who they got in today?
Peter Milan.
Peter Milan.
You're thinking of Keegan Peterson.
Yes, isn't he in the side?
He's in the squad, but
Milan
was in the original squad, and Peterson was brought in after the injury to Markram. So, well, if it had been England, they'd have probably brought Peterson straight in, because that's the kind of thing they do. They leapfrog players who weren't originally selected.
Totally.
But at least South Africa stuck to their guns regarding that.
Is Milan any related to Dawood Milan?
No.
Okay. Oh, guided
Clever.
riskily a little bit by Stokes, but it went into the ground. He's going to flick the wrist and let it come off nearly an outside edge, but it's raced through the gap between second slip, third slip and gully, and gone for 4 runs. Oh yeah, that's trippy, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the double click. It's annoying that jingle machine. It doesn't do it for the first, so you do it the second time, and then
it plays twice. Yeah.
I think that's a very clever shot from Stokes, but it is slightly risky. It's beautifully subtle, and he's using the edge really cleverly. But yes, if he just gets it slightly wrong,
it goes aerial, straight down someone's throat.
How much football, pre-match football, did the Gorilla Sound card indulge in? I think we should be told.
Lots. Defended up to mid-on, there's no run.
Tom M. Razzie Mac says 2.5 and over gets England to just over 200 by the time the new ball comes to tear through the middle order and tail.
Well, that's a problem as well, isn't it?
That is true.
So it'd be quite low for the GPL, wouldn't it?
Well, unless we have a sort of spectacular final session, yeah. I mean, what are we going to get? We might even get, if Maharaj bowls a few more overs, we might actually get to be on time.
Or nearly.
Or nearly, yeah, because we're
close to.
Yeah, we're not that far behind.
We're only 3 overs short of where we should be. Rabada in, and Stokes defends that into the ground. That should be the last ball before tea.
Is it? Oh, they don't seem to be taking their gloves off.
Yes, they are. There's tea on day 1.
There we go.
So it says on the bottom of the screen. So England go to 149 for 4. We've lost 2 wickets each session. 3 batsmen have got into the 30s. They've all got themselves out. Denley was bowled through the gate from a straight one from Maharaj, which is a bit disappointing. Rooty ducked into one but kept his hands high, got caught with the gloves down the leg side. So a bit disappointing wickets, the way the wickets have gone down. They've not been, spectacular balls. They've basically got themselves out, which is a bit shit. And the only person who's been got out this morning, you'd have to say, was Zach Crawley, who got an absolute peach from Philander. Was going away from him, and he had to really play out. It seems to be angling in at his off stump and then went away from him. He caught an edge and it was a good catch. Sibley, what was Sibley doing? He was playing at another ball that he shouldn't have been playing at, really. Way outside his off stump, followed it a little bit.
Yeah, disappointing. I mean, he got 34, Denley 38, Root 35. And you're absolutely right. There's a solid base there, isn't there?
There's a very solid base. Once you get into the 30s, you should be at least getting 50, 60, 70.
Well, you've got to be worried next for Stokes. He's now moved on to 28 from 48 balls.
Exactly. He's the next 7 more runs in him, and then he's done.
Well, I mean, if he just hits 2 6s off Maharaj, you can go straight.
If everyone gets 30 and someone makes up for Crawley's 4, so the extra runs are split around,
you're getting 300.
You're getting 350, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think
probably not enough.
I don't think it's enough.
There's a score to play with,
especially without Archer to rough him up a little bit.
Well, yeah, but there's a little bit. The pitch is quite dry. It may start turning.
But then that's why England have got to get a big score. Final few tweets before we go to the break, and the Bear puts the new sound card in. Mog says, "I'll give you £5,000 of chicken manure for the sound card." Is that £5,000 of bin chicken manure? We should be told. Hendo's Kidney Stones says, "I joined Twitter in December 2016, so I was definitely a Christmas baby. I was conceived on the back of excessive amounts of port, cheese and Quality Street.
Yes.
Bless the season." Actually, no, I don't drink port. Ed Benson.
Ed
joined us. And he says, "Afternoon, chaps. All hail our saviour sent to England by the divine. #power to the pontiff." And I think that's it for tweets. So it's time to play a few more. We're going to play the rest of that interview. Paul Smith interview.
We can do. I shall find it, and I shall find a space. We did about 35 minutes in
you will replenish sound cardery.
Indeed. So you only get to hear this on Facebook and YouTube. And
so we'll be off air on what? On TuneIn on the website?
On the website for a little bit while I switch stuff about.
Okay, there you go. So if you want to listen to the rest of this interview for now, you have to go to Facebook or YouTube. In the meantime, the Bear will find it. If you're listening to us on TuneIn, presumably you'll hear nothing. Absolutely nothing for the next 15 minutes. But if you want to listen to Tony talking to Paul Smith, then go to Facebook via Gorilla Cricket on Facebook or by Crick Tracker on Facebook or YouTube. You ready to go? Okay, speak to you soon.
Motivational speeches, and that's a part of industry that I explore and I've gone and done bits and pieces of work in. But a cricket club is a cricket club. I think the key to it is we are all part of the players' union. I think the players' union have to continually assess everything that they are doing for ex-players. The focus tends to be on the present, but when there's not many present players take their lives. It tends to be further down the line when people are retired. The issues where you lose the stability of the changing rooms, of the structure, of this, that, and that. It's easy to put your hand up when you're a player and say, I think I've got a problem. It doesn't happen very often. So actually, I don't find you've got a problem in the club. If you are a problem in a very small system, say that.